Hey guys, so after doing the video on Mora, I thought it would be better to hear the information about it firsthand. This is Rok and Jacob from RTI, and they will be leading me now through the features of their new gun. Okay, so let's just start with this one. So tell us a little bit about it, what's special, what's new, what's different. Maybe we can start from the back side and go forward, how the gun is designed and what are the features.
So if we start at the back, so cheek riser is now being standard like with the P3. We added that here as well, of course. We enlarged the magazine, so the gap you can see it's a quite big one, and also the diameter is bigger, so you get more shots. The safety, for example, is a proper safety which basically locks a hammer back, so even if you drop it there's no way for it to go off.
So basically you can engage it once it is cocked, right?
Only yeah, so you have to cock it first, in order to engage the safety.
Okay.
Below here we have a big plenum, 125 cubic centimeters of regulated pressure used for shooting, and it is enough for 9mm as well, so of course also enough for smaller calibers. Jacob, please explain the valve and the valving system and how it works.
Yeah, basically this is the same operating principle. It's a pressure assisted valve, but you have an option to set the valve dwell time. So you would use the regulated pressure to change the power, and then use this valve to change between lighter and a heavier version of the pellet or bullet.
So basically, if I understand correctly, now you can adjust this by hand. You don't need any tool.
Yeah,
this is. You can do this while the gun is pressurized. So while shooting, basically.
Yeah, you don't need to degas the gun.
And with this, you adjust how long the valve is open, meaning that with heavier slugs and bigger calibers, you will want to have it more out, more open.
And with the lighter one, it's more closed.
Okay.
And also one thing that is adjustable is the pellet pusher. So the projectile sitting depth, you have from 0 to plus 3mm of adjustment range.
So you can adjust how far in you push the slug or pellet.
Yeah. Okay. So the shallowest adjustment is meant for slugs. So they just past the transfer port, and you extend the pellet pusher for pellets because they have the hole in the back. So you push them further, so you don't block the transfer port.
So you want to have them in front of the transfer port.
Yeah, of course. So not in order not to block the transfer port.
Okay.
You can loosen the pellet pusher from up here, the same as on the Prophet, but then it's threaded inside, so you have to turn around and you have.
So you remove the screw and then you thread it in or out.
Yes.
To get the correct position, and then you thread the screw back in.
on the right position, yes, because it's indexed.
Okay.
The barrel retention is with these 3 screws. So in this part of the in this part of the gun, the barrel is held in place, and at the front it's fully floated, basically.
So there is no contact at the moment here, right?
Yeah.
From here back. So this is the last point of contact of the barrel, and this all is floated, and the shroud is basically the barrel is holding the shroud out,
yes.
right?
And you also we machined an option to put here a small plastic collet with a nut. Yes, it's on this one, and by tightening this nut, you compress the collet, and you have the stabilization here and here. So it is user adjustable.
So maybe you could call this semi-free floated, because it's still fixed here, and then you get a rigid design, a little bit more rigid design. But I guess for accuracy, this will still be for maximum accuracy. This will still be the way to go, right?
We put in the option, so if you want to use it, you can.
Okay, and maybe talk a little bit. You explained to me before this. So this is one piece, and the same piece that is holding the barrel is actually holding the scope, so you always have the same point of impact.
So
in the
the
scope.
relation between scope and the barrel axis is always the same. It's no twisting motion or anything. It's very quite. This part is made from solid aluminium, so it's quite stiff, and yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the rail is still adjustable?
Yeah,
right?
the rail, as you can see, is the same as on the P3. So by loosening these two screws, you can adjust from 20 to 150 MOA incline. So when we did
This is the fine adjustment, right? And
this is the fine
to
adjustment.
loosen and then fix.
One turn of this screw is approximately 20 MOA. This is used more for a coarse adjustment, not like
What is the range of adjustment? you said?
from 20 to 150 MOA.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And with our calculation, it was good to out to about 500 meters with scope still in the optical center.
So no adjustment on the scope, only the rail
Yeah.
should be sufficient
So
for
you
500.
don't really have to compromise on the side quality of the scope. You can just use the rail for coarse adjustment and then click for final adjustment with the scope turrets.
Okay. Explain a little bit about the shroud, how it's designed.
The shroud is a carbon fiber tube. You can unscrew this part, and inside we have a monocore with reflex holes to divert the air back into the chamber, and then also some felt for sound dampening features.
So this is basically already suppressed
Yeah.
without additional suppressor, but you can also fit additional suppressor, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we put the shroud back on. So
So also the benefit of the idea was to have a thread for the silencer on the same piece which is mounted on the barrel. So we are actually mounting the suppressor on the monocore, so there are no steps in between. So as little steps as possible, so you can still keep the
okay.
alignment of the system.
And there is an adapter on the suppressor, right? So this suppressor can be used also for other standard, let's say half an inch.
Yeah. So this one is M15 by 1.
15 by 1, okay.
And yeah, you can exchange it for like a half an inch.
Maybe if we show that we can remove this.
Yeah,
Right,
if it's not
it's
too
tight.
tightened. Yeah,
It's tight.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
so
have
this one is with the half an inch thread, right?
Yeah.
And this one is 15 by 1, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Half an inch was not enough for a 9 millimeter, so we moved to a bigger
of course.
thread size.
Of course, makes sense.
But it is interchangeable. The outer diameter is M20 per 1. So
Okay.
it's standard as some other air rifles. So it is also usable in other models of air guns.
Okay, let's go a little bit back to the trigger and the gauges. So the gauge for unregulated pressure is here, right?
Yeah, here you can see you have a 250 bar gauge for the regulated pressure, which is connected directly to the plenum.
Okay. And over it, just above it is the
Just above it is the
bleed screw, right?
bleed screw for the plenum.
And can you explain these little holes we see everywhere around the gun? Really small holes all over the gun.
So these little holes are basically checkpoints to see if you spray the soapy water over them and air comes out, that means that the O-ring here is leaking. So
it's a check for which O-ring is leaking. If you
yeah,
have a
so
leak.
it's much easier to find the leak because otherwise it's somewhere down here in between, and just a small feature that we implemented on this gun.
Okay, great. Trigger is it the same as on P3?
Trigger mechanism is the same as on P3. So you have a second stage force adjustment, second stage travel adjustment, and the first stage travel adjuster is done with this screw, which is it blocks the trigger in the preferred position. It's inside, hard to see. and the first stage force is under the cover just by moving the clip for
you
the
have,
spring.
Different points.
Yeah, you have
where
three
can clip the
positions possible.
spring.
Yeah, if you want to have higher power, you just move it forward,
Higher,
and vice versa.
force,
Yeah.
yeah, so heavier. And the blade is also different, right? And also you have some options, if I understand, where the blade is actually located.
Yeah. So first you can adjust the blade left to right or up and down on this rod.
Okay.
And then also by rotating the block around, you can put it further in. So,
Okay, so
as
let's
you
check. So
check
this,
here.
this one is further out, so it's a longer length of pull, right?
Yeah.
And this one has a shorter length of pull. So just let me focus. So on this one, actually the stem that holds the trigger is not even visible. It's behind here.
Yeah. So
This one, it's about let's say 8 millimeters in front. Okay.
So you can basically set, depending on your hand size or preferred position, you have an option.
So you still have a left side cocking lever, right?
Yes.
Let's turn around the gun and go through the other side. So can you turn it around? So can you explain a little bit about this side, the regulator?
So here you have the block, which contains the regulator, the filling nipple, and the bottle pressure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can, I believe, switch. You can have a fill nipple here and
Yes,
pressure
you
gauge
can
on the
you
other
can
side.
exchange them between themselves. Yeah, depending on the which way you prefer.
Okay.
And also one feature is this is now with 700 cc bottle, which is thinner diameter than, let's say, for 1.1 liter. So if you
how
want
do you achieve to
if you want to change the bottle size in terms of diameter, you have to unscrew these two screws, and you have the option to turn this block around. So if you go from big bottle to the small bottle, you don't have the big gap in between, and it's
the big bottle needs to be lower to incorporate its bigger diameter, right?
yeah.
Okay, but you can still have the gauge on this side. It's below, not above, and the regulator will be on the other side.
Yeah,
So,
just the regulator. It's on the fixed side.
okay. Maybe a few words regarding the valve itself. We mentioned that it's pressure assisted, but is there a way to still adjust the hammer spring tension?
Yeah, as with the Prophet, you still, when you change the pressure, you still have to adjust the hammer strike, because if you
So there is still a screw, but there is not an outside regulation?
no, it's done
Because
inside.
you don't need it, right?
Yeah, you only need it when you adjust the regulator, and the only thing in the way is this small plastic piece,
So
rubber
you
piece.
only adjust the regulated pressure once?
Yeah, when you want to
for
change.
the highest pressure, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then when you go with lower pressure,
And,
you don't need to readjust. It's already set correctly.
Yeah, and when you use this Allen key for the regulator, it's the same size inside the hammer. So basically,
So
you
you
need
need the
only-
same tool for
Yeah, the
adjusting
same tool for both.
regulator as well as the hammer spring tension.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go a little bit through options in terms of size of bottles and barrel lengths and etc.
Yeah, so this one will be like a standard model, which will have 600 millimeter barrel and 700 cc bottle. Then we will have a smaller one, which is over there. So this one has a 500 millimeter barrel and 500 cc bottle. And then the big one, which we already took a look, will be a 700 millimeter and 1.1 liter bottle.
But this one right now is already with additional suppressor, right?
Yes, so this one has already a suppressor on it, aluminum version. We will also, well, we already have a carbon fiber version as well, so it kind of is a seamless look, just adds extra suppression and length. Also, one more thing, if we turn around on this gun, as you probably noticed, the new M-Lock rail. This will soon replace, or we will keep both the old one and the new one. As you can see here, the accessories will not be attached,
So it will be only M-Lock, and you can then add the standard M-Lock to Picatinny.
exactly.
rails,
Yeah. We will also offer.
The bipod will be included?
No,
Also-
it is a separate item.
Okay.
What we will also offer is the Arca rail, so M-Lock to Arca, so you can easily mount it to a tripods.
Okay.
And one more thing which we also...
And you have also this M
Yeah,
rail
that's what
at
I-
the
yeah,
back.
I
Can
just
you
wanted-
lift
yeah.
it and yeah, let's see it
So-
like this.
So at the bottom we can see holes which are actually M-Lock spaced apart. So what you do is you use screws which you get with your Picatinny or monopod or whatever accessory you would like to put on. You just don't use those T-shaped thingies, you just use the screws, and you can see on the rifle behind me there's a Picatinny rail installed, so this is one option. Yeah, this is one option you could do with that. Also on the sides, on both sides, there is a two slot M-Lock, so you can put like a, for example, a sling attachment or Picatinny rail, the small one, and the same goes on the bottom. So this area here also has the same size M-Lock option, so you could maybe fit a 3-slot Picatinny rail instead of the M-Lock extension rail or whatever you would like to do, or maybe a bipod. So yeah, a lot of options.
Excellent, excellent. Jacob, I know
Yeah.
that's your turf. Can you talk a little bit about power?
Yeah, so the power was measured with 600 millimeter barrel up to 9 millimeter. In 9 millimeter we used the 700 barrel. So in 177 we get 52 foot-pounds. Depends on the weight, but if you put heavier pellets or bullets, even more. In 22 we get around 90 foot-pounds. In 25 130 foot-pounds. In 30 caliber we have 150, a little bit more. And in 9 millimeter or 35 caliber we can get up to 225 foot-pounds.
But that's with 700. All others are with 600.
Yeah, the 9 millimeter is with 700, yes.
So
And in the
huge
future
powers.
we are working also on 700 millimeter barrel, the smaller calibers. But yeah,
Basically all other calibers, not
Yeah.
only 9 millimeter, but
yeah,
all
also the
others.
others, yes.
Okay, that's huge.
Yeah, and still you get a lot of shots because the valve has very good efficiency and you can set it to work very optimal. So you don't have a lot of wasted air. Of course, if you just screw out, you get very high power, but if you go
Less
like
efficiency.
40% lower, then you still have the same power and just increase the efficiency by factor of 2.
Can we maybe just mention maybe a figure for this huge bottle, 1.1 liter in 9 millimeter?
Yeah,
What would be at maximum power? The
Maximum
shot
power 220 foot-pounds or 300 joules using the 125 grain bullet with around 930 feet per second, and you still get 30 regulated shots.
So still really good shot count,
Yeah,
even
and-
at that extreme powers.
Yeah, and the
extreme accuracy.
Yeah, and the magazines are very big, like Rock mentioned. So from the head, I know in the 9 millimeter you get 9 shots with the magazine. So you have more than 3 magazines
Okay.
with one charge.
Can we talk a little bit about availability, when will it be available, and approximately the price range?
So we hope to have them ready for shipping in 2 months, and the price we're talking about 2,200, so 2,200 euros approximately. That's not the final price.
US dollars or euros?
Euros,
About
euros.
the same boat?
Probably the
Probably
same.
the
Yeah.
same. Okay.
We are thinking of including the M-Lock rail and the silencers. We're still doing a calculation, and also a case which is Jacob just will
Went
grab
for the
a
case.
yeah we'll grab a case. it's an upgrade from the P3. So even with the P3, we changed it to a bigger one, but this one is a stronger case.
So in this case, you are able to fit the longest version with the 700
Yeah, without the silencer attached.
but you can add it, you can leave it here, right?
Yeah.
Here.
You have space for silencer, for a 6mm key that is used for the adjustment. You have 3 slots for the standard, the big JSB tin.
This,
Yeah. And you have space for 2 magazines and 1 mounted inside the rifle. So probably
And what about the scope? Is there any limitations?
not that I'm aware of.
That was a trick question. I actually have the Discovery, which is huge and really high, and I can still fit it inside.
Yeah.
So I already
We
know.
made it as big as possible, let's say.
Great. Okay, I think we've covered most of it. I will give you also some shots of their booth. So Jacob, Rock, thank you very much for this. And
you for watching.
looking forward to continue shooting with Mora. Maybe one last thing you can explain in the video is why and what the name means actually.
So the Mora is Slovenian for nightmare, because once you see the rifle, you have the nightmares.
And that's the logo over there. I am assuming that by nightmare you don't mean that there will be so many problems with it.
No, just the opposite.
Nice to hear. Okay, so thank you guys, and looking forward to see you in the next video. Thanks.
Thank you.